Oh, this happens on a regular basis, everybody. You're all used to it now. So what I'm knowing is this, that we are here to culminate something that we have begun, to finish the journey we started on at the beginning of the month, to know something has happened as a consequence of it, and because of it, and our coming together, we are the better for it, and so is life and living all around and about us. And so it is that thing called diversity, unity in diversity, inclusion. These are the things that we have been pondering at a more deep concentrated level this month, because in the face of so much on the outer world that would tell us how divisive everything is and how separated we all are, and etc., this is when we really pull up our big boots and we say, I don't think so, and here's where we are coming from, and this is what we know, that all of life is one. If ever there was a word that described Ernest Holmes, as I was sharing this morning, is one. That's his word. We are one, as Emerson's word is insistence upon what? The self of the self. As Trower's word is recognition. What is recognition? Of the one presence, the one power, the one life, the one infinite being, of which all of life is a part. And what does inclusion mean? It means that all parts are included in the whole. All parts are included in the whole. So these are the big, deep, ponderous things that we have been taking on this month, and I am knowing that we're changed as a result of it, and changed for the better. As Ernest Holmes himself said, the founder of Science of Mind and Spirit, he said, and he said it very clearly, he said, if it is that you and I want to get a deeper grasp of understanding human relations, human relationships, then it's not going to happen until we develop this deep inner sense, the inner sense of a hidden divine presence that is all the time manifesting in infinite varieties of ways. Infinite varieties of ways that one presence is manifesting by means of you, by means of me, by means of all of life, whether we know it or whether we don't know it, whether we care about it or whether we don't care about it. It's what is happening, and it is what is going on. So this week we are called to really ask ourselves, has it made a whit of difference to me now at the end of the month than it did in the beginning of the month? And I'm knowing that we can all say, yes, it does matter, and we have heard, and we've allowed ourselves to listen, and we've allowed ourselves to go deeper within ourselves and discover more and more and more of the true essence of our being. That's what I'm knowing. And so as we move into that, we have to understand that knowing the idea, hearing the idea, studying the idea, realizing the idea is the only thing that's important, realizing the idea. It's no use just studying it and thinking about it and pondering it and so on. What we have to do is realize what that idea is for you and for me. So once and for all, we're knowing we live in a diverse world. We are all different in the same way, in that same unique way. We are spirit's own expression of itself once upon a time when there wasn't any time, and there still isn't any time, but it's a human construct, and that's how we understand things as human beings. There was a thought in this mind of the creative force and energy of the universe. Moving through this amazing grace was a thought, and the thought was you, me, and all of the rest of creation, and that came into being because it was a thought in cosmic mind. And out of that divine creative process, you and I came as sparks, reflections, individualized expressions of the divine. And Dr. Ernest Holmes says it is the one life, it is the one love, it is the one pulse in each and every one and each and everything that is throbbing and living and moving and having its being in all of creation. You and I are part of that. Whether we understand it or whether we don't understand it matters not. That's the truth. And it's going to catch up with us one day or another, and it's going to stare us down until we get it. And we're here because we want that to be sooner rather than later, is what I'm knowing. And we do want that, because that is the key to everything. This understanding that the one power in the universe greater than all of its creation is one power, and it's the power that lives and moves in you and lives and moves in me and lives and moves in the tree and everything else besides. And I get to use it as it uses me. I get to direct that power. I get to direct that force. I get to direct that energy any old which way I want to direct it. I get to do that, and I'm doing it all the time, knowingly and unknowingly. And so, as we understand this, and we're getting more and more of a sense of the oneness and the unity and the harmony of it all, and we're not focused on the dissonance and the separation and the divisiveness and so on, that becomes a human game that is played very well. And we extract ourselves out of that game, and we get into the true and real game of life. The game of passion and the game of love and the game of fire and the game of energy and vitality and vim and vigor and zest. For what? One thing and one thing alone. Life to be expressed and experienced in its fullness, and always with one thing in mind, good in mind. And why do I say with good in mind always? It's because good is good. And it's good to experience good. And here's the thing about goodness. I can't stuff any more of it into me. I can't carve chunks and take it out of me, because I can't put it in or give it out, because it's impossible. And the reason why it's impossible is because I am the wholeness and the fullness of goodness. I'm that already. I'm in the image, I'm in the likeness, I'm in the nature of that which created me, which is good and very good. Actually, it's sweet too bad, as they say in the West Indies. And so, what is it going to be now? More and more of our separation from each other, more and more of them and us, more and more of all of that keeps groups and individuals separate from each other under the illusionary banner of we are more good than they are, we are better than they are, and whatever. So the they and the them has to stop. It really has to stop, and it can only be I and we, I and we, I and we, until it's no more anything, only I am, and that's that. And that's why we're here. That's why we caught the consciousness of this thing called life, that shows up by means of the principles of science of mind and spirit, which are universal principles and do not belong just simply to one particular group, not at all. This is as ancient a wisdom as there is ancient wisdom. This is the universal truth and the universal realization of oneness, unity and harmony. And all religions in some way or another indicate this, that there is only one God, there is only one life, there is only one light. And that shines brightly through each and every one of us and through all of its creation. What are we going to do about it? And what are we doing with the light that we are, with the potential that we have? What are we doing with it? Because in the end, what does all of this talk, etc., and ponderance about unity and diversity and inclusion mean? And it can only mean something to each individual one of us for it to root and take consciousness in a potent and powerful way, that it absolutely becomes part and parcel of the human as well as the spiritual psyche. What does it mean to you and to me, this thing called diversity, this thing called inclusion? What does that mean? Because if it means to you what it means to me, there's a lot of work to be done, much work to be done on self in order to truly live from that awareness, Now, you know, we are committed to being a peaceful and a safe and supportive community. A peaceful, safe, and supportive community. And those are the qualifications for all of us if we want to be members. To be willing and open to being peaceful and providing a safe and supportive community for all. And until we can do that, we don't really belong here. We're welcome, but we don't really belong. And if we are to the point where we're doing some kind of harm in some way in that regard, well, then we have to understand this is not our place just yet. We will love, we will bless, and we will continue to support all of us. There's no doubt about it. But this is not the environment for that. It's not. Because we're not playing around anymore. We can't afford to play around anymore. We're not spiritual wusses in this room. We're not kindergartners anymore. These are big grown-up principles that you and I have said that we embrace. And then we're going to go for it once we're doing that. So we don't want people to play at the level of us being less than we are. We want each other to play at the level of being more and encouraging us all to be more and encouraging us all to be the better selves of ourselves. We all need people in our lives that help us in that way. And God knows I have had those people all my life, and I'm very grateful for them. God knows what kind of a rogue or a renegade I would have become if I hadn't those people to remind me to be my better self, to be my better self. And they've always done it in ways gentle. I'd hear things like, well, you know, I don't think that was really you, the way you responded in that situation. That's not you. At least I don't think it is. I hope it's not, etc. You know, and it makes you think. It makes you pull back and think and get, you know, do it with a little bit more mindfulness and care the next time, or whatever. We want people like that who are going to support our strengths and not our weaknesses. We don't want people to jump in the hole with us and be commiserating and sympathizing with us at that low level at all. We want people to say, Mother of goodness, how in God's name did you get yourself in there? Here, let me give you a hand. Hang in there, I'll go get a ladder and you can come up. But I'm not getting in there with you. And remember, it was your own doing that got you in there in the first place. And I hate to say I told you so, but you know what? I'm not going to say it. All right, but I'll get the ladder. I'll get the ladder. And so that's what we want. That's what we want, people to speak to our strengths, to speak to our power, to say, this is not you, to shut somebody out like that, to cut somebody off like that, not to include somebody like that. What's the matter with you? Look at what you say you believe in. Well, then let's see it in practice. Because again, the idea is nothing without the action underneath it. And I think if anything suggests who and what we are, it's the word action. Action, action, action. We're action men and women. We're action people. We're action man, action woman. That's what we are. Or we're nothing at all. We're not. So what is it going to be? Am I going to forever linger in excuses and surround myself with safe people who support me in my less than beingness, rather than have people around me who are going to look at me straight in the face and mirror back to me exactly what I'm mirroring out there and say, is this now who you want to be, or is there more? Because I believe in you and I believe there's more. That's what we want. That's a real friend. It's not somebody that comes and goes, and when we please them, they're there. When we don't please them, they disappear, and so on. It's somebody who holds ground with you and holds ground with me and stares down what is not your authentic self staring back at them. That's what we need. It boils down to bread and butter stuff. And it's tough, but we are tougher. And we are strong, and we can do this. And we are here because we can do this. If we couldn't, we wouldn't be sitting in these seats, and some of us would be running out the door now, actually. And so, my dear, because that could happen yet. But anyway, unity in diversity means it's all or nothing. We are all in, or we're not in at all. And let me tell you, living on the fringes is no fun. You soon get tired of that one. And it's no fun to be left out. And if any one of us have ever had the experience of being left out, we know what that means. Whether we were in kindergarten or whatever else, we know what it means to be left out. There's not one of us, I dare say, has not had that experience somewhere along the line of our lives. So we don't leave out, we bring in. And when we're left out, what do? It was said before, we create a greater circle and include ourselves in. We do it ourselves. And so we do that by understanding who and what we are and falling in love with the majestic, magical mystery and awesomeness of life. It's amazing. There is so much beauty and grace and awe and joy and wonder to be experienced. But only when we first contact it here. Because if it's not in here, I'm not going to see it out there. There's no way I can see it out there. And yet, that's what is awaiting you and me, those of us who have eyes that can see, ears that can hear, and a heart that's open and receptive and receiving. It is all about that. What am I going to do? What is the bread and butter stuff of this? How can I be on the front lines of this change and this rebirthing process? How can I be a great midwife to it all, to this birthing process? Well, first and foremost, the only place I start is right here and redeem myself, save myself, pull myself back from all of my tendencies to separate and to stay in separation and to feel isolation and to not be one of them. That's what I have to do. That's what I have to do to begin with. I am everything and everyone and everything and everyone is me, like it or lump it. Well, I happen to like it now. I happen to like it now. And as I was saying this morning, if we could just sit at each other's feet and listen to each other's stories, we would be enthralled and in awe. And as we listen to the story of each and every one of us, we would see ourselves in it. We would recognize ourselves in it. And there would be part of that where we could be in agreement with. I absolutely can guarantee you, if you listen like that, that's what's going to happen. Doesn't matter who the person is, good, bad, or indifferent. If you're willing to listen and they're willing to share, there's always something to be learned. And every time I look into anyone's face, I am looking into my own again, like it or lump it. When I listen to people speak, whether I like it or not, I'm listening to myself somehow or another. That's just how life is. There's no changing that, my dear ones. So we all could pony up and get on that horse and ride it instead of absolutely resisting. What is there to resist? God is all there is only God. Life is all there is only life. That's all and nothing else. And why do we insist on resisting what doesn't appeal to us, what doesn't seem to be to our liking, and so on and so forth? How small is that? How small is that? When you are so big, do you not know that you are about the Father's business? What is the Father's business? Higher conscious awareness. Do you not know this? Do you not know that you are given, you're the incarnation of the Most High, and you were given as a gift to the world. The world has been waiting for you. Yes. You. That's what the world has been waiting for. You. You are God's gift to the world. Why can I say that with power and authority? I'll tell you why. Because I absolutely thoroughly believe that I am, you are, life is the individualized expression of the Most High, the all-powerful, the only one. And I take Spirit at Spirit's word. You are my image, you are my likeness. And as is told by the great, wonderful master teacher, Jesus, what a friend we have in Jesus. When you get to know this man, I'm telling you, what a friend. Did he not say, yeah, I know, I've done great things, but you can do greater things than I. Greater. I pondered that a long time ago, and I thought, how could that be? To do greater things than Jesus. And then it came to me, did it not? Okay, you'd have to grow a greater consciousness than he had. Like that's going to happen, Moira. But that's what he meant. It's possible. It is possible. So you are the gift to the world. You are the word. Ernest Holmes says if we could grasp for one moment the realization of what being the incarnation of God in human flesh form is, then there'd be another big bang, and all would be one again, as it was in the beginning, as it is now, and as it ever shall be, because that is the true essence of being. That is the truth that sets you free. It's the truth that sets me free if I'm ready to allow it. So I can sit there now, I can stand here now, and I can think my woes, my wails, my not enoughness, my lacks, my limitations, and I can keep identifying with all of that, or I could say, enough already, it's done, I'm finished with the weightiness and the heaviness of that non-truthness. I will be myself, and I will be my Creator's offspring, and I am taking myself on, and I am challenging myself now to be the best that I can be, and I'm in competition with no one except myself. That's all, because there's no one to be in competition with. God is all there is only God. We sing it, we pray it, we say it, we study it, but do we live it? That is the question. Do we live it? I was sharing this morning how I absolutely loved and adored the 40 hours adoration in church that I grew up in, Catholic Church, and it was terrific once a year. The altar was built up to the ceiling. There were flowers and candles like you've never seen before, and at the heart of it, in the middle of it, on top of it, was this monstrous, beautiful golden container containing the sacred host, was representing the presence of God, and everybody came in and they were bowed in adoration, and it was a glorious, beautiful energy and a gorgeous thing. Let me tell you, that monstrance, as beautiful as it is, and what it stood for is an amazing, but you are the perfect, most perfect monstrance of God. You're the carrier of the divine. You are the blessed container. You are the container. You are the vessel of the most high and glorious Holy Spirit. When are we ever going to catch a sense of ourselves as such? Let me tell you, when you do, you'll light candles to yourself, you'll put flowers on your own altar, and you'll bow down to the God within you that is awesome, that is whole, that is love, that is peace, that is beauty, that is all that's good and wholesome, and you are its reflection, you are it. That is how the Creator of your being beholds you, sees you, and as nothing else. Roll on the day when we can all see ourselves as the divine has seen us in the beginning, sees us now, and will see us forevermore. The light of the world, its own pulse, its own beat, its own radiation, its own life and its own light. Now that's what you get to believe or not. And I am knowing we believe, and so it is.